Top 10 Most Politically Unstable Countries in Africa. Hello Explorers, welcome back to another exciting video presented to you by Displo, and thanks for watching. In this video, we are going to be taking a cruise around the beautiful continent of Africa and shining the light on the top 10 most politically unstable countries in Africa. This is a follow-up of the top 10 most politically stable countries in Africa, which you can watch by clicking on the card on your screen. There are 54 countries in Africa, but then not all of these 54 countries function equally. There are countries in Africa that have managed to maintain a certain level of stability, be it in the political, social or economic domain, but in this video we shall focus on countries that are finding it difficult or struggling to maintain a stable political atmosphere. Most African countries are known for bribery and corruption, with selfish leaders who hold on to power for decades upon decades, which plunges these countries into civil wars amongst other crises. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. Data for this video was gotten from the World Bank and the globaleconomy.com, where they surveyed more than 200 countries using about 450 indicators. Some of these indicators include political rights, corruption reception, civil liberties, competitiveness, and opposition, just to mention a few. The countries were ranked using the Political Stability Index, which ranges from -2.5 to 2.5, with -2.5 being the weakest and 2.5 being the strongest. So without any further delay, here are the top 10 most politically unstable countries in Africa. Number 10. Niger. Political Stability Index, -1.40. Starting off at number 10 is the West African country of Niger. Niger is a landlocked country with a surface area of 1,267,000 square kilometers, and despite the fact that this is the 6th largest country in Africa by land area, it only has a population of over 23.2 million people. Niger fell victim to a series of coups and political instability following its independence from France in 1960. Today, the country struggles in the face of frequent droughts, insurgency, and widespread poverty. Niger is betting on increased oil exploration and gold mining to help modernize its economy, but basic rights issues such as slavery, which was only banned in 2003 and still remains a problem, and the high rate of illiteracy and disease remain stubborn challenges. The US has a significant military presence in the country, intended to combat Islamist militants. Niger has become noted as a major transit route for migrants heading to Europe. Number 9. Cameroon. Political Stability Index, -1.56. Prior to 2016, Cameroon was one of the most peaceful and happiest countries in Africa, but when the crisis broke out in 2016, the country became danger zone even for its citizens. Located in the central part of Africa, Cameroon has a population of about 25 billion people, and its president, Paul Biya, has been the president of the country for more than 37 years, which is one of the reasons why the country has been in crisis since 2016. The Anglophone crisis, which is a civil war between the government and the English-speaking part of the country, has seriously destabilized the Cameroon government, and since then, the government of Cameroon has been trying to do damage control, which doesn't seem to be yielding any fruits. The crisis in Cameroon has placed the country on the 9th position of the most politically unstable countries in Africa. Number 8. Burundi. Political Stability Index, -1.65. Burundi is currently one of the poorest countries in the world, and the country has been in poverty for so long. Bad leadership is one of the causes of the country's political instability. Burundi has a population of about 11.8 million people and is located in the eastern part of Africa. Since independence in 1962, it has been plagued by tension between the unusual dominant Tutsi minority and the Hutu majority. A civil war sparked off in 1994 made Burundi the scene of one of Africa's most intractable conflicts. Number 7. Sudan. Political Stability Index, -1.67. Sudan, once the largest and one of the most geographically diverse states in Africa, split into two countries in July 2011 after the people of the south voted for independence. The government of Sudan gave its blessings to an independent South Sudan, where the mainly Christian and animist people had for decades been struggling against rule by the Arab Muslim North. However, various outstanding issues, especially the question of shared oil revenues and border demarcation, have continued to create tensions between the two successor states. Sudan has long been beset by conflicts. 2 rounds of North-South civil war cost the lives of 1.5 million people, and the continual conflict in the western region of Darfur has driven 2 million people from their homes and killed more than 200,000. Number 6. Democratic Republic of Congo. Political Stability Index, -1.81. The recent history of the Democratic Republic of the Congo has been one of civil war and corruption. DR Congo is a vast country with immense economic resources and, until recently, has been at the center of what some observers call Africa's World War. with widespread civilian suffering the result. The war claimed up to 6 million lives, either as a direct result of fighting or because of disease and malnutrition. The war had an economic as well as a political side. Fighting was fueled by the country's vast mineral wealth, with all sides taking advantage of the anarchy to plunder natural resources. Some militants fight on in the east, where a large United Nations force is struggling to keep the peace. Number 5. Nigeria. Political Stability Index, minus 1.93. Coming in at 5th place is the giant of Africa. Despite the fact that Nigeria is the most populated country in Africa and has the largest economy on the continent, the country is still one of the most politically unstable countries on the continent. After lurching from one military coup to another, Nigeria has now an elected leadership, but the government faces the grueling challenge of preventing Africa's most populous country from breaking apart along ethnic and religious lines. Thousands of people have died over the past few years in attacks led by jihadists in the northeast. Separatist aspirations have also been growing, and the imposition of Islamic law in several northern states has embedded divisions and caused thousands of Christians to flee. Nigeria's insecurity has added to its economic woes, hindering foreign investment. The former British colony is one of the world's largest oil producers, but few Nigerians, including those in oil-producing areas, have benefited. Number 4. Mali. Political Stability Index, minus 2.15. Once home to several pre-colonial empires, the landlocked arid West African country, Mali is one of the largest on the continent. For centuries, its northern city of Timbuktu was a key regional trading post and center for Islamic culture. But this prominence has long since faded. After independence from France in 1960, Mali suffered droughts, rebellions, a coup, and 23 years of military dictatorship until democratic elections in 1992. In 2013, France's military intervened upon the government's request following the capture of the town of Kona, and its troops overran Islamist strongholds. Authorities agreed a United Nations-sponsored ceasefire with Tuareg separatists in 2015, but parts of the country remain tense, with Tuareg rebels sporadically active. Meanwhile, a jihadist insurgency in Mali's north and central regions continues. Mali is renowned worldwide for having produced some of the stars of African music, most notably Salif Keita, but the country still suffers from political instability. Number 3. Central African Republic. Political Stability Index, minus 2.18. The Central African Republic, or CAR, has been unstable since its independence from France in 1960. It is rich in diamonds, gold, oil, and uranium, but has one of the world's poorest populations. It was plunged into turmoil in 2013 when Muslim rebels from the Seleka umbrella group seized power in the majority Christian country. A band of mostly Christian militias called the Anti-Balaka rose up to counter the Seleka. Seleka handed power to a transitional government in 2014 under international pressure, but months of violence followed and the country was effectively partitioned, in spite of the presence of the UN peacekeeping force and the French mission. The country is undergoing an internationally supervised transition involving a constitutional referendum, as well as presidential and parliamentary elections. Number 2. Somalia. Political Stability Index, minus 2.38. Somalia is a country located in the eastern part of Africa and has a population of about 15 million people. Created in 1960 from a former British protectorate and an Italian colony, Somalia collapsed into anarchy following the overthrow of the military regime of President Siad Barre in 1991. As rival warlords tore the country apart into clan-based fiefdoms, an internationally backed unity government formed in 2000 struggled to establish control, and the two relatively peaceful northern regions of Somaliland and Puntland effectively broke away. The seizure of the capital, Mogadishu, and much of the country's south by a coalition of Islamist Sharia courts in 2006 prompted an intervention by Ethiopian and later African Union forces. Since 2012, when a new internationally backed government was installed, Somalia has been inching towards stability, but the new authorities still face challenge from Al-Qaeda-aligned Al-Shabaab insurgents. Number 1. Libya. Political Stability Index, minus 2.57. Libya has been beset by chaos since NATO-backed forces overthrew long-serving ruler Muammar Gaddafi in October 2011. Libya was under foreign rule for centuries until it gained independence in 1951. Soon after, oil was discovered and earned the country immense wealth. Colonel Gaddafi seized power in 1969 and ruled for 4 decades until it was toppled in 2011, following an armed rebellion assisted by Western military intervention. The oil-rich country, a key departure point for some of the thousands of migrants traveling to Europe, once had one of the highest standards of living in Africa, with free healthcare and free education. But then the stability that led to the prosperity has been shattered, and the capital, Tripoli, is now the scene of fighting between rival forces as negotiations to build a post-Gaddafi Libya still persist. There you have it, explorers. Those were the top 10 most politically unstable countries in Africa. Thanks for watching this video. If you want us to cover any of the top 10 topics, do well to leave your suggestions in the comments and we will do well to grant your request. Also, if you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe and share with your friends.